Here's a vintage Sony TC-W2 tape deck. I just got this today at the thrift store, and it needs replacement belts, which is pretty typical for vintage tape decks. The only major problem was that this tape deck was stuck on play, and I've taken out the assembly, which I have here, and the stuck play problem was due to a stuck gear under the flywheel there. That's already been fixed. I'm just waiting to replace the belts and to put it back in the player. And it's pretty nice how serviceable these are still. It's only 4 screws to remove the entire tape assembly, and the tape assembly has connectors on it, so you can just snap stuff off. And so yeah, pretty serviceable. The only difficult part is just maneuvering the assembly so that it releases from the store. But once you sort of get the hang of it, you know, it comes out. But yeah, I'm just gonna replace those belts, and we'll see if it works. Here's that tape player assembly again. I mentioned earlier in the video that this was stuck on play when I originally got it. Now, I made the mistake of thinking it was fixed as soon as I unjammed the gear. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Now, I'll demonstrate the problem by activating the mechanism by hand. This is the play button. We'll press that, and we'll pretend the motor is moving. I'll move it with my hand, and you'll see the mechanism with the playhead actuating as I turn the flywheel. Now I felt a click. You probably heard that too. That means it's set in position. Now there's this little arm here and a small ridge behind this little line here, and this arm has to fall into that gap in order for the stop to happen. Now what I found is that this spring here does not have enough tension to do that once the stop button is pressed. Now I'll press the stop button, and you'll notice this piece of metal here is going to move down, or up in this case, because it's upside down at the moment. But this arm is going to stay up. Now, did you see that? This was supposed to go down along with this small piece of metal here, and that didn't happen due to the spring not having enough tension. And as you can see here, as I gently touch it with my finger, it'll immediately go down and go into stop. See, I barely touched that. Now that indicates to me that this spring does not have enough tension. I'm going to try and fix that by somehow maybe bending this little piece of wire so it tenses up the spring a little bit more, or I'll have to see how exactly I do that. But at least now I have the problem narrowed down. It might also have might be due to it needing lubrication here, or maybe loosening this screw. We'll see in a moment. Okay, so I turned back this screw just a quarter turn, and I added about 2 or 3 droplets of lubricant, and our stop button seems to be working fine again, as you can see there. So that's fixed, and now it's time to put it back together. Here's the completed tape deck. I replaced the main drive belts in both decks, and I didn't replace the fast forward and rewind belts because I didn't have them on hand. I didn't even have the main drive belts on hand, but I took them out of my daily driver TX tape deck. Since this is going to be my new daily driver, I just took them out of there, and once I get a new belt kit, I'll go ahead and put them back on the TX. But the TX can wait, this couldn't, and this is going to be my new daily driver. They're about the same level quality wise, but this looks way cooler. The inside of the decks kind of remind me of the early 80s Sony Walkman. I forget the model numbers on those, but if you know them, you'll recognize this sort of look. But anyway, yeah, I really do need to get a new belt kit because I actually have other tape decks that need to be fixed. But anyway, this is repaired now. All the functions are working. There's play. As you can see, it's giving us a reading over there. Hang on. Gotta rewind it a little bit, and it's giving us a reading on the review meters, which is a good sign. And this one is working as well. And well, up next I'll go ahead and hook it up to the amplifier, and you'll get to hear it. And here we have the completed setup with the new tape deck, and let me tell you, I love the way it looks. It just looks great here. There is a few things I miss about my old tape deck, and that would be the automatic reverse and the cue and review function. And I guess build quality wise, the other one is better. And this one is, kind of a little bit cheaper, but I just love the way it looks. And when it comes to tapes, I actually like the lo-fi of a cassette tape, so this doesn't bug me at all. It's not much of a loss, and I still have my old tape deck. It's not like I'm gonna throw it away. And but I just love the way this old 80s tape deck looks. It's wonderful. The TX must be from the early 90s. It's just black, and the whole look of this thing is just fantastic. So let me go ahead and play you a sample tape, and for the sample tape I'll go ahead and switch over to the line out of the tape deck. Here it goes.